This week's Torah portion, Bechukotai, the last in Leviticus, begins with a description of the blessings and curses that will come to the Israelites if they observe or fail to observe God's commandments. But it opens with a curious syntactical construction. Im bechukotai telechu ve'et mitzvotai tishmeru vasitem otam. If you follow my laws and observe my commandments and do them. Rabbi Yochanan considered this phrase and wondered at its apparent redundancy. Why, he asked, was it necessary for Torah to include the words, and do them, if it has already commanded that the laws be followed and observed? And Rabbi Yochanan answered, explaining that doing is emphasized because nothing else really matters. If Torah study does not lead to some action in our own lives or in the world around us, its wisdom has been wasted. Doing is what Torah is all about. Not deliberating, not debating, not planning, doing. Isaac Mayer Rotenberg, author of Ger, adds that God created each Jew for one special task and designated for each hour one specific need that could be addressed only then. At each moment, a need. For each need, a single soul to answer it. Tonight, we celebrate our great fortune. I celebrate my great fortune that with Cara Glickman, we had the right soul in the right place at the right time. I remember very clearly the afternoon during my first year at Emanu-El that our then administrative vice president, Mark Weistuck, at the time the dean of synagogue executive directors, knocked on my door to let me know that he would be retiring. I had been with the congregation only a few months and still was learning how the institution operated, and this was not the news I wanted to hear. But we went to work, assembling a search committee for the daunting task of replacing the individual who, after 30 years, knew more about the running of the temple than anyone else. And with the help of a mutual friend of long standing, Michael Jaffe, we were given the opportunity to interview Cara Glickman. Cara had served as a senior director and corporate manager at Jewish Home Life Care for 7 years, and she had master's degrees in Jewish communal service and Near Eastern and Judaic studies from Brandeis University and business administration from Baruch College. So she brought with her the Jewish knowledge and commitment, the not-for-profit experience, and the business and administrative expertise to guide and strengthen our programmatic, financial, human resources, and facility management efforts. The choice to hire her was quick and decisive and so smart. 10 years later, now married to her beloved David Glickman, with 2 children, Sam and Maddie, Cara is the dean of City Synagogue Executive Directors. Her grasp of all temple matters, great and small, is simply breathtaking. She oversees everything from the construction work in our cemeteries to our HR policies, from our digital security to our new member cocktail parties. Her hand is in all our successes, from the growth of our membership to the growth of our physical footprint in this city. She has played a critical role in the emergence of our wonderful downtown campus. She navigated our operations through the unprecedented health and safety challenges of the COVID pandemic and, of course, the security challenges that came to a head these last 8 months with the war in Gaza and resulting spike in anti-Semitism here. And Cara works so hard for the well-being of our staff, so many of whom are here tonight. She values each of them not only for what they bring, but most of all for who they are. And she knows that a well-supported team will mean a well-supported congregation. And she does it all with warmth and professionalism, moving with ease from charts and numbers to parents and children. I certainly don't make a significant decision about the temple without consulting her for her always wise input, and I know our lay leaders feel the same way. Many of you know Cara well, others less so. She doesn't feel the need to stand out in front. She leads very much from within and beside, gathering people around her and encouraging them. She has a clear sense of the goals to accomplish, but is flexible on how to achieve them, and happiest when others feel a sense of ownership of the effort. I know that serving Temple Emanu-El is a great source of pride for Cara, and I also know that her efforts have been absolutely instrumental in creating the Emanu-El we love today. She could have achieved brilliant success in any field of endeavor. But to return to the Gera Rebbe's teaching, I'm grateful she was called to congregational leadership and to our congregation in particular. And now I am honored to invite our wonderful temple president, Harris Diamond, to the pulpit to share his tribute.
You know, following our senior rabbi is always a tough act, but this time he didn't really leave me much, Cara. And one of the other problems is Cara usually helps write my speeches. So all in all, I hope you understand we're stuck together for the next couple of minutes as I try to express, on behalf of our trustees and the congregation, our love, our thanks, and our joy that you have served this congregation so well over the last 10 years. But Josh has already thanked you. Now I've thanked you, and the truth of the matter is there are more important people to thank tonight. Because I generally speak to Cara 2-3 times a week, maybe 5 times a week, try not to bother her on the weekend, but generally speak. And the truth of the matter is, it's not really Cara who I'm calling and asking questions of. It's her children and her husband who we all owe the thanks, because they allow her to spend the time with us that makes all the difference. In fact, many of our board meetings have 1 or 2 of her kids at them, usually on Zoom, sometimes in background. Sometimes we hear them speak and talk about school and classes they attended, and she is wonderful in being able to not only direct us, but speak with love to them. And David, I don't know how to thank you, because the reality is everything our senior rabbi just said is true, and none of it could happen without a family that allows her to be with us so often and so much. This building, this sanctuary, our schools, our downtown campus, our cemetery, none of it works without Cara. And so on behalf of the trustees, on behalf of the congregation, Cara, I want to echo what Josh said in the beginning. You're not here for 10 years. We look forward to your retirement party in many, many years from now, too. So thank you on behalf of us all.
Cara, would you please join me? As a symbol of our appreciation, we present to you this piece of art by God Amalia, and it is an illumination of the Birkat Kohanim, the priestly blessing by which we end all of our services. And the inscription reads, "To Cara Glickman, with heartfelt appreciation for your first decade of leadership, may God bless you with peace. 31 May 2024, 24 ER 5784.
Thank you. Well, Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Rabbi. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Rabbi Davidson, President Harris Diamond, trustees, members, and guests. It is overwhelming and unexpected to be thanked for doing one's job, especially when you love what you do. For the last 10 years, it has been my sincere honor and great pleasure to serve this congregation as its Chief Operating Officer and Executive Director. My deepest thanks go to my colleagues who are my true partners in this important work, and it is so nice to have so many of you joining me here this evening. The dedication of the Temple's professional team is unparalleled, and they never let me down. I have a wonderful team, and I respect their expertise and their love of their work. And we have a lot of fun, most of the time, doing what is necessary to make this congregation run smoothly and efficiently. My deepest gratitude also goes to our officers, trustees, and lay leaders who work so hard to guide and lead this great congregation. Our leadership are truly wise, and what has always stood out to me has been their steadfast commitment to and love for this great temple. An extra special thanks to Rabbi Davidson and Harris Diamond, partners in my work, whose wisdom and experience help guide me to do my best. I am so lucky to have the opportunity to work with them and learn from them. Thank you to the clergy for this beautiful worship service. I take great meaning from our liturgy and glorious music. It is humbling to stand upon this bema and receive blessings from my wise clergy colleagues. Thank you for this wonderful tribute tonight. And to my family with me here tonight, David, Sam, Maddie, and Aunt Roz, you know how much you mean to me, how much your support allows me to do what I do in my role here at the temple, and how much I love you. To my family online, thank you too. Now, I could recount all that I've accomplished in the last 10 years, or I could share with you what my day-to-day looks like, and no days have ever been the same, dull, or boring. I could share a long list of projects, work plans, policies, and procedures. Sometimes my work is mundane, like ensuring we have the best bagel vendor and that the butter is taken out of the fridge at the right moment prior to Torah study so that it is spreadable and not too hard. And sometimes my work is technical, working on security infrastructure, installing a fiber optic backbone or Salesforce, updating the employee handbook, and working on budget plans. Sometimes my work is relational, speaking with families facing hardships, working with lay leaders to set up new volunteer opportunities, and providing important information to our board and committee chairs and members so that they can make good decisions on our behalf. Through COVID, rising anti-Semitism, the war in Gaza, and other existential challenges, I have sought to work on behalf of this great community to guide and support us on the path that is best for us. But I won't go into further detail tonight, and I invite you, if you ever want to hear more about my day today, give me a call. But when Harris Diamond and Rabbi Davidson notified me that I would be honored on this Shabbat, I began to reflect on my first 10 years at the temple. This decade has flown by and has been so meaningful to me personally and professionally. I thought back to my first meeting with Josh, where he shared his vision and I shared my passion for synagogues. You see, I have always loved spending time in temples. From my early Hebrew school days at Temple Beth Shalom in Livingston, I even asked for extra Hebrew school, which I received. During my undergraduate days at Penn State, I spent all my Friday nights at the Hillel, where I often led the services, and ultimately worked as a High Holy Day soloist for 2 years. I then actually worked as a High Holy Day service soloist for 10 years at the small synagogue in State College, Pennsylvania. During my graduate studies and a fellowship working with the European Jewish communities, I spent all my Shabbats at the choral temples in Vilnius, Bucharest, Moscow, and then in Jerusalem at Kol HaNeshama. And in my young adult days, I regularly attended worship services at Beth Am and Chezek Emanu in Baltimore, Temple Israel and KI in Boston, and B'nai Jeshurun here in New York City. I have always loved the community, the music, and the meaning of being with others in temple. The time I have spent contemplating life, celebrating joys, overcoming challenges, and going through sorrows have been in temples. My life has been wrapped around synagogues, and 10 years ago, when this opportunity presented itself, it was a fulfillment of so much for me, personally and professionally. To have the opportunity to be in community while building community and strengthening the systems that sustain our temple is beyond meaningful to me. And I am grateful to get to do what I do, to give back and continually give to sustain temple life, frankly, at a time when I believe temple community, Jewish community, and people being together for a greater purpose could not be more important. I am fulfilled in my role here and believe that what I am privileged to do every day truly matters. As I conclude my remarks tonight and think back to when I began 10 years ago, I very much looked forward to working with so many people, Rabbi Davidson, our leadership, our clergy, our senior staff, my team, our members, our partners, our vendors, students, visitors, and guests. And I thought of a favorite lesson I learned in religious school, which focuses my life until today. It's from Pirkei Avot, and it says, Eze hu chacham halomed mikol adam. Who is wise? She who learns from everyone. My deepest thanks to all. I have learned so much and have so much still to learn. I look forward to continuing to make an impact at the temple as your COO. My life has been enriched beyond words. It is my pleasure to serve and be part of this wonderful, meaningful, and inspiring community. Thank you for honoring me today and every day. Shabbat Shalom.